Hi, it's Mrs. Higgins. I'm going to show you how to help your kiddos with regrouping when subtracting. It is a skill that they struggle with for like till the end of time. It's really hard because to do it on paper doesn't always make sense because they don't exactly know why they're crossing things out and moving numbers around. So if they can understand it with place value blocks, they'll be much more successful. Also, while I'm doing this, I'm going to be using the word regroup. The terms borrow and carry are no longer used. It's something we did when I was younger, probably when you were younger, but the terms now are regroup. So if you hear your kiddo saying things like, I'm going to borrow, carry, or go next door and get 10, try to redirect them to say regroup, because on the STAR test, their answer choice could say like, the difference is 57 because you had to regroup, and da-da-da-da. So make sure you're using the word regroup when you're talking to your kiddos about subtraction. So I'm going to get it set up, and I'm going to show you what that looks like with place value blocks. Okay, so here I have the numbers 140 and 2, because I have 100, 4 10s, and 2 1s. So I have 142. Okay. Oh, you can't see that, so let me rewrite that for you. How about up here? Okay, it looks good up here. So I have, let me scooch you over a little bit. Okay, so we have 142, okay? And I'm going to take away 67, okay? So I always tell the kiddos when you're using algorithm, make sure you stack your 1s up and down, your 10s up and down, and your 100s up and down. Of course, there's nothing here, but there's a 0, so those need to be stacked up and down as well. So you always begin in your 1s place. So we have 2, and we're gonna take away 7. Okay. We cannot take away 7 because we do not have 7 to take away. So I always ask the kiddos, where can I get more 1s? And we'll have a conversation. And usually in the middle of the conversation, someone will say like, oh, just grab them from your basket. And I'm like, well, we can't just change our number. I can only rework this number, like regroup this number. So when we're talking, they've gotten used to knowing now that I can get more 1s from my 10s. And what that looks like is I take a 1s block, or I'm sorry, I take a 10s block, and I can regroup this into 10 1s. So as I'm taking it out, this is where this comes into play, your 3. Now, you'll take this out. You're not changing your number, you're only regrouping what you have. So as you take this out, you will take 10 1s and sort of trade them. So your value hasn't changed. You have 142, you still have 142 because 10 pennies is the same as a dime. It's kind of what I work it back to as money. So 142, 142, okay? So now that I have 10 1s, the 1s need to go in the 1s place. So I already have 2, and now that I'm bringing in 10 more because I regrouped it, my 2 is no longer 2, it's actually now 12, and that's where that comes in. Now I can take away 7. So 12 minus 7, 1, 2, 7. Okay. That leaves me with 5. Okay. Okay. Now I need to go to my 10s place. I have 3 minus 6. So I have 3. I need to take away 6. They get kind of stuck here just because in 2nd grade they did a lot of regrouping in the 10s place, but not in the 100s place. But it's the same idea. Can I regroup this to allow me to have more 10s? Some kids will tell me to cut it, but only cut 3 more, so I can move 3 over here, and then I can take away 6, because I'll have 6 to take away. But you want to let them know that if you're going to regroup this, you have to regroup it all the way. You can't just like take what you need. So it's always kind of cute that they like, just take what you need. It's like, well, you can't. It needs to be 100s, 10s, or 1s, so the blocks need to always be one of those 3. So we'll have the conversation, and eventually they'll realize like this needs to change into 10 10s. So we take this out, which is now why you have 0. And if you have 3 already here and you're adding 10 to your pile, now you have 13 10s. So 13 10s minus 6 is 2, 4, 6. So now you have 7. So now your difference is 75. That's it. So what I've also been working on them with is learning that this is the minuend, this is the subtrahend, and this is the difference. Those words are not required in 3rd grade, but I thought why not just teach it to them anyways. So again, this is the minuend. That's the big number you start with. The subtrahend is the number you're taking away, the amount you're taking. And then your difference is 75. Okay. Just talk to your kiddos about this. It's really hard. They struggle with it all the time. I did 5th grade math for 2 years, and they struggled in 5th grade. It's not just like your kiddo struggling. Trust me, they all struggle because it's a hard concept. Because doing this on paper doesn't always make sense. Sorry, it's all crooked. Doing this in paper doesn't always make sense. And using the blocks can be tricky because they think they can't change the blocks, but they can. They can regroup them to what they need as long as they don't change the amount, like the number that they have. Because 142 can be shown in different ways. It's not just 142, you know, it could be 14 tens blocks and 2 ones. So a lot of kids think once you have your set amount in the beginning, whatever you have in front of you, you can't change, but you can. Just work with them on this. It's really hard. It's going to be a struggle all year, but the more we practice, the better they'll get. Thanks.